Here we go. Alright, good. I have to reset that up almost every time. Not a problem now. We're just waiting for a couple of people to filter in. Okay. Oh my gosh. I can't believe we're at 10 followers. It's still kind of crazy, you know, just a little crazy. It gets that way though, I suppose. I have to give it to a Calm by Nature. They do have some nice little videos here that I like to use. They've always steered me right so far. I guess I've used 3 of theirs, now yeah, 3. Not so bad. And we're up to the 5th episode already. Man. The whole month of November. It's about to be behind us. Kind of hard to believe. There we go. Oh, I have to rehook this entire stream up every time I start it. It's not that big of a deal, I guess, but I always surprise myself how quickly I can get it back all together. So, we are beginning the stream. Today is November the 28th of 2020. It is 7:35 p.m. We are, as I said earlier, on episode 5 of Cast Talks. 5 episodes in of having a lovely time together, sitting and chatting, cooling off and relaxing for our 5th Saturday in a row. It's hard to ask for a better time than this just to hang out with you folks. Certainly a nice time for me, at least. Grateful to the 10 people we have as followers now. It's a nice little milestone to make it to. I'm glad that we've made it that far. It's a big step. And a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but many people don't even start when they really want to or when they're thinking about it, but they just give up before they even try, and having made it this far is a blessing in its own right. So thank you for joining me, whether it's right here live or in the future when you're listening to this on YouTube. I'm glad to have you either way. For our first word, cancel. So, there are a few things in my life that I've had to cancel. I've had to put a stop to gaming. Playing video games is the hardest one so far. Because I have a desire to, of course, like anyone who uses their computer and has access to them. The desire exists, and I have to. Good night. I have to sort of accept that it's something I want. You know, I want to have that kind of fun. You know, just to be there, chilling with some friends. Getting an objective done, whatever it might be, you know, however rudimentary or simple. But that gamer life is probably behind me at this point. Maybe in the future, if there is some method by which a person can sort of fix arm issues and things like that. I guess if everything was perfectly fine with my physique and I didn't have sort of an arm problem, then I would be more than happy to try and enjoy gaming every now and again, but it did have a very large impact on my life for a while, maybe too much. And I'm really glad that it's not as significant as it was before, because there was a time when it was really, really significant. And I had to move past that. I had to give it some time to see what I really wanted. And it took me a month, maybe 3 months, to really figure out that I was done doing it. And now I watch other people play video games, sure. In fact, I enjoy that, because using my hands to do that has always been a little bit of a troubling thing. And now more so than ever. So I'm just content to watch other people enjoy themselves and have a good time. So I just take it easy and find someone that I like and watch them play everything that they've played and keep up with them as best as I can. The person that I'm really enjoying right now is Carnage. And he's a dad, so he makes a lot of dad jokes. But on top of that, he is genuinely a nice and kind person from what I can tell. So I do respect him for having that and for being good enough at video games that I can watch it and enjoy it and not be too nitpicky about it. But that's where it is for me right now, and I'm okay with that. I still do role playing and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. But it's a different beast. It's a very different beast. I'm okay with it though. It's not a huge shift, and I don't mind it. The closest thing that I ever really get these days to typing on my keyboard for the sake of moving around a virtual character is in Second Life, but even then I keep it to a minimum. And Second Life is kind of a weird niche where it's not quite a video game, it's not quite like for like gaming, but it's also not quite a standard way of society coming and speaking with each other. It's sort of a gray area, isn't it? That I enjoy quite a lot. I have a nice time. And I've made plenty of friends there too. It's always a good thing when you have that kind of a position where you can have plenty of people hang out with you and you can have such a good time. And sometimes you find yourself in a position where you didn't expect to be. I've been there plenty of times. In fact, I'm there almost once a week, maybe once a month, something like that. And I try to enjoy myself either way. District. A way that I try to map things whenever I'm taking any kind of challenge or obstacle on, I map things in a certain way. I think about them in sort of like a compartmentalized sense. Most of the time that means I separate it into little pieces. That's how I eat food as well. I separate the food into a tinier piece, and then I take a little bite here and there and enjoy myself. I favor doing that, I suppose, just separating things and looking at them individually. Sometimes I have to really work hard to keep all that minutia, all that tiny little pieces, all understood at once in my mind. because it can be difficult to look at something and see all the little pieces, see all the trees, and also see the forest at the same time. It's a tough skill. But I like seeing just one area by itself. One little area, secluded, maybe safer than others. Maybe there's a hill and a little nook underneath it. I've always thought that would be a fantastic place just to sit and lay low for a little while. Someplace quiet. A little bit of grass underneath you. Some roots hanging down from the sort of ceiling it creates. It's a lovely little idea. Maybe a nice spot for a picnic or some tea. I can't help it but look at places like that and imagine spending some time there. Places that it's difficult to be seen from, I think, is what I enjoy. I don't quite like being out in the open, if I'm being honest. Maybe it's a bit of an agoraphobic thing. I'm not sure. But I do prefer a bit of seclusion. There's certainly something to it. Regard. I try to regard things with a kindness. It's one that I didn't have before I went to have my operation done on my arm. I actually regarded things in a displeasant and worried, negative way before. It came from a real lack of faith and belief in a lot of different things. It came from a place inside of me that wasn't wholesome, that wasn't kind. Places like that sort of crop up as you move along in your life and as you go forward. Sometimes you find that you just aren't quite interested in something like everyone else is, and I've been there before. But sometimes it's something else. Sometimes it's kind of just a nastiness, a meanness. And that kind of takes over a lot of what you're thinking about. And that's it's an unfortunate thing, but honestly, you can't stop it sometimes, and you have to roll with it. And there's always room to have negative outlook on things, but sometimes it's better, not just for you, but for people listening, for people nearby, even for people that you talk to later, to try and take a little bit of positive out of something if you can. Maybe a silver lining is a good way to put it. Maybe so. And taking a look at things like that, it can be tough sometimes. And sometimes there are truths that don't seem like they have any positivity to them at all. Something I've been able to do with very negative thoughts I've had recently especially is look at them and see charming or endearing or wholesome qualities that I would receive from them becoming reality, these theoretical truths. And one of them, it always strikes me so strange that I could even do that. But I manage. I manage. On October, I want to say 20th, maybe 25th. This was a little over 10 days after I had just come back from the hospital, I was thinking to myself, when's a good time to start typing again, to start using my hands again, to get back into it? And I thought, October, that was a hard month. It still is a hard month. But November is a new month. And that sent sort of a chill, sort of a sensation down my body, and it still does. A new month. That means the old month of October. The promise of December in the far future. That's a special thing. And so I said, November 1st. That's when I'll start using my hands again. Because November is a new month. And now here at the end of November, when I have used my hands quite a bit, and I still feel pretty good, I'm willing to say, December is a new month. And for all of you who are joining me now, I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then I hope that you were able to show gratitude to everyone in your life who either is there for you, who helps you, or even just a thought to people that you care about. Thanksgiving has always been sort of a holidays in general, I guess, for a lot of people too. There's a toughness to it for me. It's kind of a spiky, sticky thing sometimes. But I've never really liked Thanksgiving food that much. I think pie's good. I like pie. Pumpkin pie is the one I was eating this year. But I like pies of a lot of different types too. I like apple pie, maybe some blueberry pie someday. Raspberry pie might be a little too sweet. Blackberry pie might be a little too tart. Strawberry pie, I have never had that, but it does sound good now that I'm thinking about it. I think that something everybody enjoys is coming up with their own kind of Thanksgiving meal. Someone in my family had come up with, what was it? Green bean casserole was hers. She enjoyed that. I think it's just peas and cream of mushroom for me, but I appreciate that she enjoys it. I don't quite taste the actual casserole part of it. There are some foods that you can sort of just blend everything together into a orchestra of flavors. And some tastes, it's just kind of a series of notes, and you see them all individually, and you can't see the forest, It's just a bunch of different flavors that are one after the other. It's not a collaboration, it's a series of single efforts. I would say pizza has a lot of collaborative effects on my taste buds. Pie does too. Pie is special to me. I guess I've always been a fan of the pie crust. I think it is something I really get into because I really do just enjoy pie crust at its core, but also I enjoy pie filling about as much as the crust. It's something I enjoy equally. And I have a can of cherry filling in the cabinet in my kitchen. And I've always kept that around just in case I needed it, just in case something happened. Who knows when you'll need a can of cherry pie filling. I certainly don't know myself. Hostile. There have been times in my life where people have been hostile towards me. And I think a lot of people have felt this way before. There's definitely a place in this world for hostilities, for the moment that is, because not everybody belongs to the same group or to the same culture or society. And while it can be hard to deal with and to accept, there are times when we have to push people out of our lives. And we try to do these things with as little hostilities as possible. And I've tried, certainly. Though I do feel a bit of embarrassment at the amount of times I haven't succeeded. I think the intention has always been pure, though. It's always been a wholesome effort for me. Even if what I said wasn't always so wholesome, mind you. But I still had a good word in mind. A good thought in mind. Though there is a bit of drama in hostility, isn't there? Just a bit of drama. And, drama can be kind of easy to get yourself swept up in. And sometimes drama can be fun. When you see somebody else's drama, it can be kind of juicy. And I've had to make efforts to not be so interested in other people's drama because a part of me even likes it a little bit, just a little bit. So I have to really watch out and be careful about stuff like that. Because if I'm not careful, then I'll really easily end up getting drawn into the drama. And that's just not a good place for anybody to be, really. But sometimes it just can't be helped. Every now and again it just happens where you get drawn into it and you have to just say, I'm out. It's over. And when you do, you always feel a little bit better. You always feel a little bit better. Even though sometimes it can kind of feel like things aren't really lining up for you properly. I think the important thing is to remember that there's a time and a place for almost everything. Oh. Aw, I'm so glad you could make it, Ella. I was a little worried you wouldn't show up, to be honest with you. I'm very glad to see you, though. You made it. We're only getting into getting past the first half hour, so we're plenty of time to spare. Yeah, I'm gonna change chat box around a little bit. There we go. I have to move it around a little bit for every different screen I put it on. But welcome. I'm glad to have you. What were we just talking about? I've forgotten. Well, I guess it wasn't that important. I hope that you had a lovely Thanksgiving, Ella. Prayer. It's a good one. Prayer is something I actually didn't think I liked very much for a while. It was I feel you there. I, for a very long time, didn't actually believe in the power of prayer. The power of prayer. The power of prayer. And when I say that, I don't really mean that I think prayer has any special qualities that it can bring forth miracles or things like that. I think we pray for ourselves. I think when we pray for other people, we pray for their safety in the future. When I prayed, it was, I think, the beginning of maybe May that I started doing it. I would think about a person who was very important to me in my life, and I would think of something I wanted to happen to them that was very good, that would help them or make them happy. I would say their name out loud, and I would say, I pray that you have a nice day tomorrow, that you sleep well tonight, that you're safe, that you're rested, and that you wake up feeling great. Sometimes I would say to whoever's listening, whether it's nobody and I'm just talking to myself, or if something else exists and it can hear me, I'm praying for this person, and it's because I love them. And I don't know if I believe it has any real effect, but I do believe it makes me into a more complete person to pray for these people. Some of them honestly have been terrible to me, but I don't want them to have a poor life, you know? I don't want them to suffer. So I pray for them. I pray for them honestly because I know to have been so mean and cruel to me, I believe there must have been some reason for that, and that they really do need the help more than I do if they're behaving that way. But it's a bit negative. I won't go too deeply into that. I will just say that prayer is a good thing, even if it's not a religious thing. Like, I'm not very religious myself, but if you believe not that your prayers will come true, but that your prayers affect the way you feel and affect the empathy you have for others, it's a thing about humanity, and humanity is good. It's very good. You should try to get as much of that as you can. Oh, no, I'm not gonna make that. I'm not gonna use that word. Story. I've always had a little bit of a problem with going to the food market, or going out to buy clothes. And I did that recently. I went to a little suit place for men, and I bought a shirt that was a little too long at the waist, but it's hard to find casual men's clothing, especially suit clothing with like a shorter part that you don't tuck in. I've always loved that though, not tucking in your shirt. I don't know why I feel that way about tucking in shirts. I've always been so about it, you know. I do it and I'm like, I don't like it. There's like a little flap underneath my waist where it's hitting me and it feels uncomfortable, and I just don't like it. And I know it's all negative, but it's just such an annoyance to me, and I'd rather just not have to tuck anything at all if I can help it. That's the kind of look I'm going for, but I haven't actually worn an untucked or a tuckless, whatever you call them, kind of shirt in a while, which I need to find a way to get that in my life again, because I did enjoy that quite a bit. And I enjoy talking to people. You know, I enjoy talking to people in stores who have that sort of contract, a social contract to behave and to be kind, or at least to be in a situation where you have the advantage on them being a customer. I know it's a bit rude, but I've always found that to be a fun dynamic, and maybe I'm a bit coarse for saying so, but I like that it keeps people in a place where, or it doesn't keep them, excuse me, but it starts them in a place where I feel like I can make a good conversation exist just from that. And it's strange, the things that people will tell me when given the chance to. Very strange. I won't go into that too much, but I have lived a life where people, for no reason other than, I guess I have that kind of face, they will just start telling me things that are very personal and almost intimate. And I will hear it and be like, okay, do you want to tell me more? And I mean, I'm not against people telling me their secrets to some degree, but it's strange. I don't quite understand why that happens. I think maybe I've just got a very trustworthy, accepting, and non-judgmental sort of expression on my face most of the time. I try to think it's a good quality, that they want to tell me everything. Though, I assume that there's something else going on as well that I don't understand yet. But that is a conversation for another time. Okay, let's get a different word. Honest. I like that one. There have been times in my life where I haven't been very honest with myself, and there are times when honesty has been eluding me or difficult for me, or even where it felt downright impossible. Most of the time, though, when those areas of my life existed more prominently, it was because there was a problem that I wasn't able to solve, with myself. The problem was usually something like an insecurity or a fear or a distrust I had. And the importance of trusting yourself is not negligible as far as how much you should put power into it, because you do have to trust yourself to make things work in this world. There's so much that needs to be made real and made whole, so much art to be created, so much truth to be said. But if you're not honest with yourself, if you're not trusting in your abilities or confident in your skills, there's so much that might not make it to fruition. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. I find myself having nervousness and fear and anxiety, even reticence, at every time I realize it's Saturday and it's past noon, because I know that I'm gonna have to stream soon, because it's something that I'm trying to do for myself and for you fine folks out there. And I just get all wound up and twisted about it. But then when I'm here, when I'm actually sitting here and talking, it's not so bad. I mean, it's about as relaxing a stream as I can imagine. Maybe next to painting or next to writing or meditation. But it's very close to all those things, honestly. If I was doing a meditation stream or a painting stream, I don't really know what kind of emotes I'd like for that, because, I've always thought that if you have oh, lovely. I'm glad to hear it, Ella. I've always thought that if you're like doing meditation ASMR, you have to have really, really good emotes for it, right? You have to have like a galaxy brain emote and a sleeping emote and a cozy emote and maybe like a blushing face emote of some kind. That's what I'd like, a couple of those, to make you feel like one with reality. It'd be nice. Gotta figure that out someday. And, I'm looking forward to when I actually do have an idea of when that could happen. It's gonna be nice, actually, having some stuff happen in the future. I have a lot to look forward to. And I am looking forward to it for sure. Oh, expertise. So something that I have always felt like an expert in is talking like I am now. I really like just speaking my mind and letting loose, just saying something for a little bit. And I know that for some people, speaking can be really difficult or even traumatic. And I think that there will be a time when someone will just need really badly to hear someone else talk and to soothe them or comfort them or help them feel more at ease. And I want to be that somebody for them. I want to help somebody, or more than one person if I can really have a shot at it. But I want to be there to heal and persist through someone's life. Maybe when they're really, really down, they just need to hear another person speaking and to say, I'm right here, and I'm your company for a little while. Just for a little while. I know that's something that I've wanted in the past, is just to hear someone talking like they're in the room with me for a little while. It's a great thing, just to have just company for a little bit. And 2 hours is a nice little stretch of time for that. Though I don't know what I'm going to do when we get ads. That's something to think about later, though. Affiliateship is still quite some time away, so we have plenty of time of uninterrupted, ad-free viewing. Future cast can worry about the rest of it. Narrow. I think there was quite a bit of time in my life where I was fairly narrow-minded. But it wasn't because I was a bigot or I had any malice or hatred. I just genuinely didn't know anybody. And for a long time, I thought that I was just a guy, just a dude, just a boy, and that I only liked certain people, and I only liked certain things, and that was it. Oh, well, hello. Oh, Kai. It's lovely to see you. I'm glad you could make it. We're just getting into I guess we're getting into the second half here pretty soon. Well, I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving, Kai. No, I didn't know any better. I thought that, boys were boys and girls were girls, and I just assumed that was it. Case closed. But when I was maybe 16, I started to notice that I had affection for a lot of different people, not just ladies or women or girls, affection for a lot of people that I could share with many people as well. And I realized I was romantically attached to a lot of different people. It didn't really matter who they were or what their gender was or what they looked like. I still hold deep to that. But something that I had to fight with for a while is figuring out, like, what gender am I, Because, I mean, that's something that no one really can tell you but you. Physically, I've always been like, well, I'm a guy physically, but I'm not really sure that I associate myself with much masculinity or much idea of gender. I've always felt kind of just like a human, a person on the inside. And I'm really okay with that. Sort of a simple thing, really, and a part of that gives me a lot of belonging to know that I have a space and a place and I fit in there, even if it's mostly just with myself for the moment. There's some safety to that. Oh, hello there, crying. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Zoe, hello. I'm so glad you could make it. We really do need to talk more often, but I'm glad that you're here. It's mostly on my fault as well, so I'll get with you at some point. Either later today after the stream's done or tomorrow. Well, I'm glad that you're here regardless of anything else. I'm glad you're here. I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving. What's our next word? Profound. So, when I was, when was this? 13, 14, maybe in that area somewhere. I had this understanding of... this is a special Thanksgiving, I'll say that much. Mine was a little tough for me. I've always had a tough time around holidays, but I made it through. I had my tofurkey, which was like deli sliced almost, which was a little challenging to really see it as a Thanksgiving dinner, but I still had some. I ate enough with some stuffing, some vegan stuffing, and after that I had some pie. So I've had my Thanksgiving fill. Thank you very much. Hey, it's a tough time for some people, and I'm one of those people. But I'm glad that I got it working. I'm glad that it's going well. And I'm very happy that I have been so blessed with the ability to fight through this this problem of mine, either with eating or with generally speaking, having a good time at a holiday. It's tough for some people, and it's hard for me. It's very difficult for me. But I make it through. I made it through for 25 years, and I'll make it through the other ones. Oh, bi-gendered. So, multi-gendered people, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty interesting to be in a position where you talk about having more than one gender at once. It's not quite gender fluid, is it? It's more like having multiple states of gender, and I don't know if it's at the same time, or if it's sometimes one, sometimes the other, which is a little closer to gender fluid. But it's certainly an interesting concept, and I don't know exactly how I feel about it. But I like it. I can say that much. I'm into the idea. And I'd love to hear more about that, actually. And when I was about 14, like I was saying before, I had this really profound knowledge of that I could type really well, that I was good at writing, and that I had a good understanding of what people wanted in sort of a sense to talk about. And I've always had sort of an idea or an interest in what someone's motivation might be for speaking with me. I guess I've always been able to wrap my mind around that very quickly. And I can't help but think about the different reasons every time someone strikes up a conversation, or whenever I strike up a conversation. I can't quite control it, to be honest with you. It's not always a bad thing, though. Maybe not mostly a bad thing either. But the profoundness of it was that I understood, in a kinesthetic way of typing, how to string sentences, paragraphs, and stories together in a way that people found pleasant to read. But honestly, I don't like writing for the sake of writing. I like role-playing. I like having a scene and having this paragraph, maybe less, of space to write something interesting in, and you just force all that creativity to flow into a small little constraint of time, and you just let it go. And you just take that and you give one out, and then someone reads it, and then they give one out, and then you read it, and it's a good time. It's a good time. I've been into that for a long while, and I haven't stopped liking it yet, so maybe I will someday, and when that day comes, I'll hang up my hat and retire, but I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon, I'll tell you that much. And now that I can type again, I'm just enjoying it. Just enjoying it. A quarrel. I have had quarrels with many people in my life, but I have a little bit of a spicy, saucy, zesty personality at times. And in my dark ages of mental unwellness, I have found many people to quarrel with. One of them I can think of right now even. He had his own mental wellness problems, and one of his interests was insulting or berating me just for the sake of seeing what I would do or getting a thrill out of it. A bit messed up if you ask me. And me not being in much control of myself, I gave him what he wanted every time. I responded, when really I should have just walked away. Just leave. That's a very powerful thing, just to leave when you're not wanted, or you're not being accepted, or being treated poorly. And I didn't understand the power of that, of not having a presence, choosing to not be a part of something. That would have been very powerful, and I do feel like there was a time where I didn't understand it well enough to use it properly, to exploit the gain that could be gained from it. Hey, Daniel. Daniela, excuse me. I hope you're doing lovely. I hope you're feeling lovely. Excuse me. We're glad to have you. Today it's going well. And we're coming into the second half of the stream. And already we've had a had a nice little time. Oh, this music, this is Cozy Fall Coffee Shop Ambience by Calm by Nature. I am just using their videos for my own pleasure. Oh, well, thank you so much, Daniela. I'm doing my best. Hey, Chris85. Zoe, excuse me. Thank you so much for following. I must have missed the alert. I know I can't see it either. It makes sense. I need to have my little word generator over here. Thank you so much for following, though. I'm really grateful. That's my 11th follower. My gosh, 11. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, tonight's going well. We're doing some stuff. Having a good time. What's our next word? Radical. Oh my gosh, radical. I used to be pretty radical about a lot of different things back when I was, in my dark ages. Like, I like saying that these days. I don't know why exactly, but it feels apt. It feels right. I would have these thoughts, like, oh, I'm only right about this thing, or they're only wrong. Very extreme sort of personality I had for a while. And I would not only think that I was right, but I would think that I need to prove I'm right. And that's a dangerous mindset to have, because something to prove, something to try to make someone else understand, most of the time, you're not going to change someone's mind about a very extreme or radical subject. And if you do, it's probably for the wrong reasons. So, I guess it's important to remember that even if you have, like, the right or the upper hand or the moral high ground, whatever, if you have that, you should keep it to yourself until the right moment comes where you can help someone with it. Because if you go crazy and go off half-cocked, then you can get yourself in some real trouble, let me tell you that. And I have gotten myself into a lot of trouble doing that. Almost gotten myself hurt doing it a few times as well. But it can be really easy to feel radical about something, because there's so much in this world to feel radical about. There's so much to be worried about, upset about, to take so much offense to. But there's a time to be offended. There's time for that. But there's also time to look past that and to find a way to help or find a way to move on. And if you can help the situation, please do. As always, be the good you want to see in things. But if you can't do anything about it, and if you're limited, if you're just one person who needs to live out their life and have a nice day regardless of all this, it's okay to move on. It's okay to say, it's not my problem right now. But when you can make it your problem, then you'll help. And I don't always feel great saying that, but it does make me feel like I can live my life in peace and relative happiness. Though I see a problem, and no matter what it is, and I want to fix it, I can't quite help that. It's more of a strong mentality I've had for a while of trying to feel like I can solve every issue that I come across. But you can't. You can't solve everything, even if you really want to. And it's important to remember that you have to let some things go. And I've had a tough time letting go of anything, because it's hard. It's hard to be like, oh, I'm letting it go. It's over. I'm done with it. That's really hard. And it's even harder to be like, hey, I've moved on, and some of the hardest things for me to move on were from, like, unhealthy habits are hard for me to move from. And video gaming was one of those habits where I was very much like, ooh, I want to do it so bad, but I couldn't. Because, I was facing those problems with typing and with arm difficulties, and I was so interested in playing video games. I would wait until I felt like even a slither better, and I was like, oh, I'm healed. I can do it. But no, you can't immediately regain something that is on its way out. You have to accept that that might just be for a different time. Maybe in the far future when that sort of thing can be fixed easily, but for right now, just for the moment, you're gonna have to live without it. If you want to be happy, that is. And I certainly want to be happy, like most people do. And so I didn't. I moved on, and I don't really play video games anymore. At least not like gamer video games, if you know what I mean. Like things that you would see someone playing and be like, oh, they're a gamer. No, I'm not a gamer anymore. And honestly, this might be a little stupid, but I take a little bit of offense at being called a gamer, because I'm like, no. I feel like I'm not at my computer that much to be called a gamer. You know, I'm not like at least not a hardcore gamer, but I feel like, I almost feel like the title makes me feel immature. Maybe it's unreasonable to feel that way, but I do feel like when someone calls me a gamer, I'm like, oh, no, I'm not a gamer. I play video games that are very calm and collected and soft and easy, and I play them rarely. Like, I don't consider myself a gamer anymore, and I think it's a good thing, at least for me. And I hope other people are able to make that sort of transformation into something that is helpful to them. But we're on to our next word. Process. So, a process that I have always been grateful for. Oh, I just got your other messages, Kai. Yeah, something I've always been grateful for is having people to work through things with, because it is really important that you have other people to bounce things off of, right? That you have other people to talk to and negotiate and see things through with. And usually I find myself really grateful to have this sort of presence. You know, I'm really grateful to have somebody who can listen to me. And that's an important thing everyone likes, I'm sure, is to be listened to. Because it is so important in this world, in this big, big world, that somebody hears you and that somebody is there for you. Because there is so much in this world that isn't there for you, that isn't going to hear you out, that when you do find something that will, you have to hold on to it. You have to use it to your advantage and to heal and to work you through the process. And it's different for everybody, you know, it's different for everybody, but when you do actually make it through, when you do come out the other side of anything, you always feel a little lighter. Maybe it's like 0.1%, you know, 0.001%, but in the moment you always feel it, just a little bit, just deep down. You always feel something, even if it's so tiny that you can almost not see it. And that's what I do things for, that's what I do all of this for. It's because it makes me feel something. And I know that I will feel satisfaction and joy and relief and pride at having succeeded in making 10 of these, or 50 or 100. You know, that's a noble goal, is to have 100 2-hour segments of you just being there to talk to somebody, just so they can listen for a little while. I think that's a great thing. And I want to do that for you fine people, wherever you are, whoever you are, whenever you are. That's my goal, is to expand my little community of people who really enjoy themselves and to make this a place where people can just come in and have a nice time and relax for a little while and just not worry about all this crazy stuff happening in the world. Just sit on down and think about, oh, hello, Titan. Glad you can make it. Just think about hanging out and relaxing, because that's something that I try to do every day, and honestly, I feel pretty relaxed when I'm talking. Of all the times to feel relaxed, maybe it's common, I don't quite know, but I enjoy it, and I like thinking that other people enjoy it too. On to our next word. I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving, Titan. I'm glad that you could be here. Thank you, Titan, very much for following, and thank you, Only Zodius, for following as well. Glad to have you. I missed that one, so it's my bad. Let's see, what's our next word? Blank. So, sometimes, when you're going through life, when you're fighting or struggling or facing what feel like insurmountable odds, there is a tendency people have to become blank and passive and to dissociate. This is what I did for a very, very long time. And dissociating or having a disassociative episode is what happens when you are facing either an immense difficulty or a kind of, even an annoyance would work too, something difficult or challenging for you. It is a way of distancing yourself from a problem, because you're saying, oh, that's not me. I'm not the one who's feeling that. That's this person over here. Ooh, far away, far away. I don't actually feel it. And that was something I did for a very long time. I liked to think that I was separated from all my anxieties and fears and worries and the pain that I was feeling as well. That was common for me at the time. And I did this for such a long time that now I for a very long time, I couldn't control it. I would just start slipping away into my thoughts or into sort of a head in the clouds fantasy of some kind, to a point where it was drawing me away from the real world. It took me a lot of effort to finally know how to ground myself again. There were lots of different ways. There were rubber band tricks, totemification, grounding, meditations. But in the end, I didn't need any of those, just like I don't need them now. Whenever I feel like I am not myself, like I'm not enjoying things or being present or worldly, I just take a moment and refocus myself. It is a little close to meditation, but it's kind of an action, like a muscle that you can flex. I'm very sorry to hear that, Titan. Sometimes we dissociate because we're bored even, and sometimes we find ourselves doing it for reasons we don't understand. But the important thing to remember is that no matter how far you go into that rabbit hole, you can always come out. And being here with us tonight, it means that you'd like to find something, and I hope that you found it, whatever it is. As far as that goes, I'm glad you're here. I really am. On to our next word, and thank you very much for sharing that with us. I think you'll get through it. Relevance. Something I've worried about from time to time is being relevant in all of this stuff going on in our world, to feel like I am making an impact and that there is something I'm doing that's right. That's a hard thing to really get going, is to feel relevant. But it's something that everyone wants to feel relevant, everyone wants to have a place in our world, to feel like they belong. And I tried to be relevant in a lot of different ways. I've tried doing phone flirtations and putting up a lot of my other roleplay skills to work in lewd and erotic situations, for money especially, to try and seem like I was attached to something or to somebody. And it worked for a little while, but then I was always thinking, oh, this isn't for me. I feel cheap, or I feel not like myself, like I'm dissociated. And I would have to move on, because I knew, deep down, I knew that there was something wrong with this, that it wasn't me. I'm not that guy. I say that a lot, actually, when I'm thinking about things that I have to sort of accept are not for me. So I'm not that guy. I can't live that way. And I think that there's a lot to be said about a need for relevance. But especially for me, I need to help people. In fact, that's my number one goal. And if I have to get a day job, or if I have to take out a loan to start a business, or if I have to grind at some terrible job somewhere, if it means I get to keep doing this and keep helping people by just being here as their company for a little while, or being here as something they can relax to for a little bit, I think I'm okay with that. I think I could live that life, and I don't think I would regret it. I think that's something to take into account when you pick up something like this as more than just a hobby. Because, this may never be successful. I may do it for a long time, and maybe no one will ever hear it. But it's my hope that people will at least like it enough to be there from time to time when they can be. Some people have schedules they can't fit it into, or people are just not feeling in the mood. And if that's the case, then I accept it, because you have your own life to live, and it's not up to me. If you want to show up, it's up to you. And I can handle that. On to our next word. Self. I like that one. Sometimes we think about ourselves and we have a lot of negative things to say, and that's something, I faced for a while myself too, and sometimes today even. Oftentimes what you find negative about yourself in one moment, you might feel like you can change and you can work towards fixing. That's good energy right there, thinking you can fix that, because there's a lot of things that can be changed in this world. And some of them can only be changed a little bit. Some of them can be changed a lot. Some of them actually can't be changed at all. Though there's very few of them that are actually that way, if you ask me. I think the important part is focusing on what will change for the better the most. Something for me that I've always worried about is my face. I've always felt like my face doesn't really fit me very well, or there are things with it that I'd rather have differently, better as I saw it. And to this day, I can't quite get rid of those thoughts all the way. But what I can say is that there are other things about me that I really do enjoy. And I enjoy speaking because I like hearing the sound of my own voice. And that might sound a little narcissistic, I admit, but it's not like I like hearing it for the sake of hearing it, though that might be a small part of it. It calms me. That's why I talk to myself, is because I enjoy hearing my voice. Not because it's my voice, but because the voice itself is helpful. And I have found out a long time ago that just hearing a voice doesn't have to be yours, doesn't have to be, though you might prefer it to be someone you care about. Just hearing a voice in general can be so helpful. I'm glad that it calms you so much, Ella. And thank you, Zoe. It's true, there are things everyone would change about themselves, except maybe a very few select people. And I'm very glad you're enjoying it, Zoe. It's what I do, and I'm glad to do it. In fact, why is everybody appearing as red? I want to change that. I love that word, that color to red. I'm super into it. What can I say though? Besides, I like it a lot. Text color. Oh, I don't want it to be that color. Let's make it like... what color? What color? Oh, okay, that's the actual color itself. Yeah, that's fine. Cheddar. Source. Wait, how do I change? Well, I don't understand this. I'll have to look at it some other time. But for right now, I accept it the way it is. Oh, I think I just reset chat. My bad. My bad, everybody. But I'm so glad that you enjoy it, Zoe. I'm very grateful for that. I am blessed. I have to admit, I am privileged to have a voice like this. Because there are many people who can't speak at all. There are many people that have voices that are unpleasant to listen to. But I can not only speak, I'm not unpleasant, but I am actually very pleasant. Those are 3 things to be very grateful for. Because some people don't even get any of that. They don't get any of it at all. And that's a tough place to be. I don't know how I would manage like that, but I'd find a way. Just, I wouldn't be able to do this. It'd be very difficult for me, and I'd have to struggle to make it work. Being unable to speak, it does sound like a tough time, and I'm glad I don't have to face that, and anyone who does, I have respect for it, honestly. But enough about that. On to the next word. Endure. I like that one. Endure. There are a lot of things that I attribute my survival to. Endurance is certainly one of them. But willpower, determination, charisma, personality, those are all things that I'm grateful that I have some aptitude in. Because I feel like I might not have gotten this far if I didn't have them, you know? If I was so without them, I think it'd be a tough place for me. Much more tough than it is right now. And I'm happy, honestly, that I have all of these gifts to be not only a good person, but to not be on the lookout for things to do wrong, or who doesn't have all these problems in their life like other people do. I'm privileged enough to not worry about a lot of things, and I owe some of that to my family, I owe some of that to myself, I owe a lot of it to just, who knows, chaos? Luck? I can't say. All I know is I'm here right now and I'm talking to you. And I'm okay with that. So, what is our next word? Reflect. I like that one. There are times in our life where we reflect on things that are sometimes not very important at all, and sometimes things that are immensely monolithic. Things that I reflect on. Have I been helpful to people today? Have I made the world a little bit of a better place today? Have I made someone smile today? That's a good one. And have I made someone's day today? These are things I would like to say yes to. I would like to look back at my day and say, I've done that. I've made someone happy. It's sort of why I do a lot of what I do, is to make another person enjoy themselves. And that sort of selflessness that I have, it's gotten me into trouble too. Because you have to be whole to make whole. You have to be kind to yourself. And to be full of your own happiness before you can assist someone else fully in theirs. I'm not saying don't try, but it will be much harder if you don't have a place to help from. It's never stopped me, mind you. But certainly always be wary of it. Something that I reflect on now is looking at the things that have gone wrong in my life so far, the things that I am not happy about. What could be said about them, about what they did for me, about what good has come from them, about what I've learned from them. And even in the most dire of situations, when you don't really feel like much good is happening, or that you're really getting anywhere, or that maybe even you're stuck, sometimes it's not about doing the right thing, though that's still important, or knowing the right people, though that's also still important. It's about you, where you are, what you're doing in your own mind. And that was a question for me. What am I thinking? What's going on with me? And for a very long time, there wasn't a lot that really was working, but I had to learn what I was good at, what I liked doing, and what I could do. And no matter what your situation is, there's still a lot you can do. There's always things you can make an effort towards to try to feel better, to do better, and to understand better. And that's really important, is to know that even in times of extreme crisis where you feel completely abandoned, there's still hope. And I feel a little sappy saying that, to be honest with you, but it's what I believe. And for some people, that'll be a thing to hear, something interesting to hear. But 2020's been a heck of a year. We're almost done with it though, so don't worry too much. It'll be over soon. And then we'll be thinking on it, who knows how long from now, thinking, oh, well, that was crazy, but we made it through. And we're still here for each other. That's the important part. And I'm grateful that you're all here with me now. On to our next topic. Restaurant. I have thought of opening a restaurant at some point. That'd be fun. It'd be crazy hard, and it would probably make me lose sleep, but owning a restaurant, or a restaurant chain at some point, maybe, if it got successful enough, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanted to open up a pescatarian restaurant that serves only fish and vegetables, mostly. Maybe a little bit of tomatoes or fruits, right? So I guess it would be fruit, vegetables, and tomatoes. Or not tomatoes, and fish. But what it would serve is like bacon style fish, right? Bacon style fish, grilled fish, pan fried fish, deep fried fish. Just the best. And it would all be served with lovely cornucopias of vegetables. It'd be great. I would prefer not to eat any meat if I could help it, but swordfish is pretty good too, though I have my feelings about swordfish, and cod and herring, halibut too, but less frequently. Things like that. Things that are nature incarnate. They're just the ocean right there for you to snack into. Those things are life. I want to sell life. Oh, teriyaki salmon, yeah. I'm glad you've been enjoying that. I had some today, actually, though I had to use some of the other teriyaki that I have, and it's not as good as the teriyaki that I have had before. But I would serve that if I could. I'd serve that. It's very good. I would serve that to someone else for sure. And I think they'd enjoy it, because I know I enjoy it. And I only make things that I want to eat, and if I had a restaurant based around things that I like eating, I mean, why not let other people enjoy it too? Alright, we're in the last section. We're just getting past the hour and a half mark, and it's about time for some positive vibes. So here we go. A lot of people have been through tragic things this year. A lot of people have been through some terrible tragedies and have suffered through some great misfortunes. But right now, I am grateful. Grateful to be here. Grateful that you're all here with me. And grateful that we can share moments like these together. And I want you all to remember as well that these moments are for you. They're for you to cherish and to think of, to hope for, and to be excited for. They belong to you, not me. Though I might look at them every now and again, they're for you. They're something that you deserve. Something that you have fought your entire life for, and you've chosen to give just a small slice, just a small little drop of your life to be here now. And I can't tell you how thankful I am for that. I hope that you believe that you are worth the life that you have and that you are celebrated, even if not always by yourself, but by those people that care about you and love you, which I'm sure there are plenty. And if you are enjoying yourself, if you're having a good time, then stay for a little while and keep having a good time, because you're worth it. And for those of you who are laying in bed and starting to fall asleep, I hope that you sleep well. It's about that time. All right. What's our next word? Company. This is what it's all about. Sometimes there's nothing better than being like, I just want someone to talk in the background while I'm hanging out. And you know what? That's what I can do. I can do that. I can be here for a few hours. I can be here for a few minutes. Whatever it takes. I'm grateful that you're interested wherever you are or whoever you are. And I hope I can continue to make you feel as comfortable as I can. Well, I hope you don't sleep too late, Ella, but I understand what you might be feeling. There is a temptation in me almost every day to stay up late, but I always know I will regret it later on, so I do not do it. But either way, I hope that when you get to sleep, that you enjoy yourself and that you have pleasant dreams. Ah. Well, I hope that it's enough sleep for you. Whenever you sleep, that is. Let's go on to our next word. Career. I have wanted a career that I could really get stuck into for a long time. I've always wanted to have something that I could hold on to and do and be good at. And to keep myself strong from, something that could make money or I could get accolade and or acclaim. And I still want those things, don't get me wrong. I'm not doing this completely selflessly. Or for the most part, it is selfless, but it's also because I like doing it and because it will get me something at some point. But I can wait for that. I'm doing this because it feels right. Not only that, but this could be a career for me. That's one of the reasons is this could be a career for me. I could see this going somewhere because, you've got the ambience, you've got the people, you've got me. Well, 3 good things that could work. ASMR is important. Oh, I'm glad you think it suits me, Ella. I'm glad to hear that. It is kind of nice, isn't it? It's a little nice. And I do hope it helps people have a nice time. Relax and take it easy. That's what it's all about. And every time that we do this, we get a few more people who are interested. And that's all you can really ask for, is to have a few more people interested than before. And if you can get that, you can make anything work. Doesn't really matter what it is. Lodge. Let's try making lodge work. I have thought about a place that I would really enjoy. A place where I could sit away and have my own side of the mountain. Though I don't quite feel that way anymore. When I did have those thoughts, what I would consider is some kind of fortress almost. A polished concrete building covered in vines or greenery of some kind. With a collapsing roof that could turn into a triangle to prevent snowfall. Or something that could open up and have a sun ceiling in. Something fortified so that no one could disturb me. Something stylish and smooth and white so that its purity, its color would remain untarnished. Something that I could see and hold close to me and lean up against as a hard shelter. And when I had that, I would be able to go inside and relax and feel safe, feel a kind of safety that I know I could be undisturbed and I could take things easy and relax for a little while. Put a lot of those fears behind me. And I mean, sure, I do still think about that type of thing. You know, every now and again, I think about it. But also, I think about how much time would I really want to spend like that alone. And I can't put this sort of place in the middle of nowhere, otherwise who wants to come over and hang out at Cassius' place in the middle of nowhere for who knows how long? I'd always end up alone, because people would want to go back home, or maybe they'd have sleepovers, I suppose, but it's kind of a big ask for somebody, you know. You're not going to bring a date back to your cabin in the woods on the first try. You'd be asking for trouble then. Cabin on the lake. That might be nice. You know, I have a bit of a phobia of bodies of water myself, but it's a nice idea, at least. Seen one too many horror movies, unfortunately. Cabin on a puddle. Sure. The puddle front cabin. I know I wouldn't want a beachfront, and a lakefront isn't quite right. Puddle front, I would consider at least, but maybe not either. Maybe not that either. Something in the mountains would be nice, where there's plenty of deciduous trees. I know mountains with deciduous trees, I don't know where those would be, but that's what I think about. Something close to a small town where I could go to get Amazon deliveries and have some place to buy food. But not a Walmart if I can help it. Some place with like more class and style than Walmart. I shouldn't say I hate, but I dislike Walmart, to be honest with you. I don't like the colors they use, or the way they look, or the lack of coziness I feel when in their stores, if that makes sense. I have my own feelings about Walmart, and I'll keep them to myself for now. How about that? Because I don't know if I have anything good to say for the moment. And I'll leave it at that. Switzerland. I've thought about that. I don't know if the Swiss, I'm not sure how to say that. I'm not sure if they would. I'm not sure if I would feel quite at home not speaking Swiss. I'm not sure what the word is. Dutch. I don't know if that's the right word either. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable if I couldn't speak that language, though. I guess I could work on it and try to figure something out. Be the foreigner in town with his new fancy home in the mountains. That's interesting. French and German. German, French, Swiss, Dutch. You know. I'd figure it out. It just shows how little I know, honestly. On to our next topic, ancestor. I like that one. So, our ancestors could not have imagined how great things are for us right now. And even though they're tough right now, we still have Amazon deliveries, like I was talking about. We still have Postmates, and we still have Uber Eats and Lyft. We still have cars and TV and YouTube. We still have Cast Talks. And McDonald's, yes. Both of those things. Oh, my nose got itchy there for a second. We still have all these things. And we can always remember that we're doing much, much better than our caveman ancestors. Much, much better. Cave people ancestors, excuse me. And we have a lot to be thankful for. And I certainly am grateful myself. Museum. You know, I've always felt a little bit afraid in museums. Just a little bit. Curious and afraid. All that open space in there, all those exhibits and things to see. I worry, right? For some reason, and a reason I can't quite describe to you, I worry. I think about how large it is, how big the displays are, and how elegant and shown off, and the nature of these displays, and I worry. I don't know if I can completely account for that. What I have to say, though, is that I fear and am intimidated by the size of museums. I fear all the information being there and not being able to attain it, or how long it sits there and waits for someone to find it. Things that aren't really that normal, in my opinion, to worry about. And these things, I will say I am bothered by my own worry about them. I'm bothered that I don't understand them very well. I have to wonder exactly why that is. And I, like I said, have no idea. What I can say, though, is that I don't stop thinking about them. You know, I consider museums to be great and interesting and cool and a luxury that we can only be grateful for even existing at all. But I don't know if I want to visit them very often, to be honest with you. Let's move on to our next word. Torch. What I would like is to be a torch that others can bring with them into their lives for light and comfort. I want to be a part of people's lives in an important way, in a strong and helpful and insightful way that they can turn to when they need help, when they feel like they're lost or they don't know what to do. I want people to feel like they have a strength or a power or a courage just from hearing me speak. Because there's that much in a voice that a person could feel anything from it. They could feel like they've never felt before just from hearing the right voice. And a lot of people need that. And it's so hard to get that these days, to feel that kind of strength. I just hope I can give it to them. I really hope I can. Oh, our next word is achievement. You know, whenever I have these words running on this random word generator, I click it, and then I'm like, oh, I'm never going to find the right one. And I always end up finding it. It might take me a few clicks, but I find it. Achievement. There are many things in my life that I feel like I have achieved. I have achieved being a master role player. I've put my 5,000 hours in. I'm a master role player. I'll say that much. I am a I don't want to say I don't want to say I know this part for sure, but I do feel like I have some mastery over speaking in general. Just knowing what I want to say and saying it. Knowing how to make a sentence and say it in a way that sounds good. Or just knowing the right thing to say at the moment. That is something that I really like doing, and I am grateful whenever I can. I feel it's an achievement to do such amazing work as saying the right thing at the right time. It can change an entire conversation. And I love seeing that when a conversation switches for the better. I want to be the facilitator in something like that. I want to be the right guy who can make that happen. It's one of my goals in life, I'd say. Key, that's a good one. I think that everybody has something they need to hear or see or feel before they can move forward in whatever threshold they're up against. And I think in the future there will be a device or a machine that will be able to figure these things out and then give you exactly what you need to move forward. I think that's how far our technology will eventually come. That we can solve mental illness in like a week or a month just by showing someone the right things at the right time. Wouldn't that be crazy? What kind of AI or machine would do that? I have no idea, but certainly would take away our ability to find them ourselves, which may be for the worse, but you'd be saving a lot of time doing it. I'll say that much. You'd save a lot of time. It would be something, wouldn't it? I guess you can suffer not knowing a few things here and there for having saved years, maybe even decades of your life. So it's not such a bad loss after all. I'd like to move on from that subject though. Interest. An interest that I've always had is in knowing how to make people feel something, you know? It's not always been a good thing, I will admit, but my interest in causing emotion or sensation in others and, of course, in myself. I've always been curious and influenced by the concept to the point where I feel like now I have an interest in causing people to have peace and enjoyment. And I feel like I can cause those things to happen just by my interest, by my will. And that will, I believe, can give me a lot of different things. And I feel glad and I appreciate that I have that, because it lets me have all of the stuff and strength and beauty we've gathered together for these 5 episodes so far. And the 5th one's about to end. And we made this episode together with each other. Can you believe that? 5 episodes of Cast Talks. Yes. Well, I'm grateful for the participation in chat as always, Ella, and to everybody else who's talked as well. It shouldn't just be me who talks in these streams, and I'm glad it's not. Having you all here is an important part. It's an important part of this community and our growing numbers. And without you, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. You're what makes this not just me talking to nobody, talking to the computer and my microphone. You're really the reason why I do this. And our last word, realize. Doing this stream has made me realize how important it can be to spend some time just taking it easy. Just not being too into anything, but just this time together. This time with us as friends, as people, as kind souls gathering together by the campfire to just relax and unwind for a bit. It's the best thing I could wish for. To help these people who want someplace to go, someplace to hang out for a little bit on a Saturday night. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing. And we've about come to the end of our time. I would like to thank all of you for attending today's stream. And I'd like to thank my friends who are here right now. They know who they are. For coming on and showing their support. I'd like to thank everybody who's followed and who has come back a second time, or a third, maybe a 5th as well. I'm sure there's someone out there who's been here all 5 times. Though I don't know who it is. You know who you are, though. Together we've made this work, and I'm very glad to have you all here. I'm glad that we've made it this far, and I'm hopeful and happy that we have many, many more times to go. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it, Ella. I'm glad to have you here as well. Well, that's going to be it for us, folks. I hope that you have a lovely night, that you have enjoyed yourself, and that you sleep tight whenever you get there. Thanks again, and take care. See you soon.